excited to be able to have this conversation with everyone today on the importance of dreams, on how your dream can push you into that next thing that you want to be. And my name is Nifemi. I do many things, but I'm here on behalf of Motley Inspires. Motley Inspires is a leadership firm that helps people find capacity. And I have my G's in the house. I don't want you can look at it in many ways. And I decided that this is what I'm going to go with. I have Atim in the house. Atim is the founder of AfroLems, Shop AfroLems, pop-up series, Nigerian food culture, anything food in Lagos, Nigeria /Africa, you will see Atim there. And I have Quavo, sorry. I have Deji in the house. Deji is a fashion photographer and a creative director. The reason why the conversation is interesting is because we all used to work together in an advertising agency. There's supposed to be one more person on this panel, but it's not going to be able to make it. It's kind of the custom. We all worked together at the same time in an agency, and we're all pursuing some sort of dream at that time. And now, if someone looks full-fledged, they have their own existence. And so it's more than very exciting to just be able to have a conversation with them. So first, I'm going to just start by asking Atim and Deji, starting from Deji. Can you just share your story going forward and how your dream has powered you up to today?
First of all, thank you for having me on this panel. This used to be a dream as well. I remember 2016 or 15 when I first came to Lagos. The firm I was working with that time, worked as a update, like three of us, myself and two of my colleagues for social media. And it was just like an amazing thing. Like I saw them back here, how they just give like speeches and just talking about stuff. And I just felt like, I mean, like these guys are doing this thing. I don't do that. There is a big deal. I feel like everybody can just go on the stage and just talk about stuff. And it has always been like that for me. When I see something that I like, that I would love to do in my head, somewhere, somehow, just thinking, there is nothing to it. I can't do this stuff. And so that's how I've always dreamt about things that I have done and things that I would like to do. So I've always been an artist. I draw, I paint, but that's always been a dream for me to go out there and let people see the things that I can do. So the dream started manifesting gradually when I began working with advertising, and the tiny bit of the dream was to see my designs on billboards. So that's always been like a big dream. Like, let's just drive to Lagos and just see people like, who did this stuff? I remember very well my first global com designer time on billboards. Like, I had no reason to want to where the billboard was, but I just wanted to take a picture of it. And since that time, it has always been one dream after the other. One of the biggest ones that I've always had was happened last year. So I wanted to have an exhibition. It's been something that I've been talking about since like 2017. I mean, like, there was nobody to do that. As at that time, but like, it was a Johnny just called game for me. Like, I just think it was just like watching people do stuff and learning from them. So when the exhibition happened last year, like, it was a big deal for me, right? And it went on for almost a month. Like, people don't really do that, to be honest. So dreams have always set my path for me. I dream it and I get my push or my drive from there. So it's always just, I want to do this stuff. Yeah. And because I want to do that stuff, I go out of my way to learn to do this stuff. So it always starts from dreaming about how to do that stuff or what to do then from there. I just like communicate the process to actually do it. It's been an interesting journey. Yeah, it is.
All right. So AfroLems, dreaming. I think AfroLems is mostly a dream. AfroLems started a little over 12 years ago. I would say I would use the word visualization, power visualization versus actually dreaming. So I think when I'll tell the story about how it started. So I was sitting with my mom when I lived in Toronto, and I was like, all my friends are coming to this food for free at my house. I need to monetize it. I can't be coming and buy my groceries and then you guys like eating for free and just going. And she now said, well, just start something. So she called it Katie's Kitchen. I was like, nah, I need something lit, you know. And at the time, Lems was a slang for eating. So I was like, you know what? I wanted to say Niger Lems, but I said, you know what? Let me do Afro because Afro says African.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm catering to Nigerian students now, but maybe it will be bigger. And I think when I started posting about recipes that I was making, that started to draw in other Africans to the page. So it wasn't even people that couldn't taste the food at least were engaging with the brand just because of that. And so that has always helped me. I think from that point, it's always helped me see with everything that I do, let me think a bit bigger. To be honest, with each stage of the business, I haven't always known exactly. I've just always been curious and dreamt a little bit. But when it starts to happen, I'm a bit scared. So like last year, I set, as far as I'm concerned, a very ridiculous goal for myself, AfricaNXT, financially, and also just in terms of things I would do. And I said I would be executive chef at 2 kitchens. And it happened. And I was just like, huh. So this year, when I was writing my goals, I took my time. I didn't do January rush like everybody else. I was like, nope, I need to wait because I think it scared me a little bit that I was able to actually surpass my financial goal last year. And I didn't even start the year in January, like financially. I started like maybe May, right? And I surpassed the goal that I set in January from May till December. So I was just like, So by this year, when I set my goal, I said, nope, I'm going to take my time. I need to also be a bit more strategic. So I think one of the things with dreaming is, yes, dream leaves room for hope. But you also need to be calculated a little bit. So you need to know what your realities are, but then don't put a cap on the realities. Now look a little further out, which is what I'm doing this year. But I think for the most part, a lot of the things that I've accomplished with AfricaNXT, even with dreaming, I don't know that I would have done. My mind just never went to some of the emails I've ever got. My mind just never went there.
And that's really interesting because it's like anyone that knows me, like they know me on this panel, like I'm big on, I will plan my year proper in the PDF document to let you know that this is what I want to achieve for the year. But like at the beginning of this year, I usually take like whole of November off. I'm not doing work, I'm not speaking to people, I'm not going anywhere. I just go out of my house and try to plan the next year. Because I hate the December, oh my God, we're stepping on moon now. No. I don't do that. So I plan trying to put my end in November. Well, now, like, no matter how much I excused myself from that last year, I couldn't plan for 2022. And because it felt like 2021 was that year, almost like having like big dreams, like mention it happened. Mention the things that I was thinking about. It's like I started mostly inspired mentally as a blog for a while. But 2021 was the year it actually made income. Like it made like I didn't even have a financial goal for it. But it actually made income. Like I'll be sleeping and someone will have paid for a course, someone will have paid for it. And I was like, wait, this thing is making money. And so when I was planning for 2022, I was scared that so now I have to financial goal. I have to financial goal into this thing because I enjoy just thinking aloud and thinking. So why I said that's what I used to ask that. How has being strategic helped in you just being able to dream? Because I struggled a lot to like February to be able to dream for what's going to happen this year because like my realities have changed. I now have to plan on how I was going to make money. I now have to dream on how much I was going to make, what was going to happen hiring wise, how we want to take this thing to the next level, and all of that things. And so it was it was so much for me at the time, and I couldn't even just make it happen. But there is a place of being strategic in dreaming. So how has that happened for you, and how have you been able to navigate it in times past?
Okay. So strategic in dreaming, to be honest, I feel you need to research a lot. So one of the things that I do is I'll check, okay, what are the possibilities in my industry, for example. So with food, I've one of my big dreams, I would say, and I'm putting this out there, it's happening locally, but I'm putting it out there. One of my big dreams is to have the Noble model. The Noble is the Japanese chef that has partnered with Robert De Niro and someone else, and they're opening like restaurants and hotels around the world. Noble is a chef. That's what he's good at. But he found people to partner with and move. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, realistically, who can I partner with? Because guess what? In Nigeria, everybody likes to do the health thing, everything. But I need to be realistic as well. But even in my realism, I need to say what is possible. Because believe it or not, there are people. The people that I'm currently working as the executive chef for, and I've shared this with both of you, they want to open a space in Ghana this year.
Yeah.
We partnered on one thing in Lagos. Actually, we partnered on two things in Lagos. But then they're now comfortable enough to go outside. Would I have thought that this noble dream will come to me like this? Not really, but I also have to research to know what is possible. And in researching to know what is possible, you also need to, like you said about putting financial goals to things, also put that, but even putting just general goals to some of these things so that when you're achieving it or when you're dreaming about it, it makes it easier to know, okay, well, this is where I'm starting from, and then this is where I can go. It's not, everything, not to be a preacher or anything, but at the end of the day, open your mouth wide. That's what the Bible says, right? So if you don't do that, you don't know how much you can fail. Like if you look and say, this is the best I'm ever going to be, then that's the best you're going to be. So you kind of have to also, in leaving room for dreaming and going a bit in the impossible realm, you also need to know what's realistic around you.
I totally agree with what you said about being realistic and research. For me, I try my best to focus on excellence. So what I have noticed is the things that I do, my projects, bodies of work, just like putting things together generally, is that there is a target or there is a goal that I have with my work. I don't, there's no offense, but I don't want it to be that it is the big photographer in Lagos, Nigeria. It's always been how can a goal maximum of my work? Or how can I walk into a room with like other photographers on the world and they're like, seriously, this guy. That's always been like that for me. Like I don't necessarily want you to know my name, or when you see my work, like, so where have you been? That kind of thing. So I try my best to pursue excellence, and in being strategic with that, I try my best to take my time while I'm doing. Taking your time makes you I don't waste time. Can make you be a bit laid back, but if you have a timeline you're working with, because so I remember when I was at my exhibition last year, we planned and executed in 2 months. So the 2 months meaning that most of the pieces that wanted to exhibit were not ready, and we have a venue. We do not have partners, we have sponsors, but we've been thinking or wanting to do it for 8 years. So there's a difference now. So like it's something that you've been brewing, you've been planning, you've been thinking about it just mentally, right? So when we wanted to start executing, we already knew who we were talking to, what kind of places that we wanted to exhibit. There was a theme, so we knew the things that would fit in. Do you understand? So I try my best to always take my time, because at the end of the day, the stuff that we are trying to produce or we're trying to put out there
Yeah.
can stand the test of time and
Yeah.
timeless, right?
Exactly.
And that really happened for me when I went to meet Television for the first time, the management. So what happened was that we had already had, so we had this audition, we called them. So what really happened was I had my assistant, because like there was this friend I was working with during that time. So we were just calling different galleries, to be honest. Just like introducing ourselves as like what we do, what's our organization, how much. We're not even asking if they will partner with us. And they were just giving us 2 million naira, 3 million naira for 2 days, 3 days. I'm like, bruh. So when we got to Terra Culture, what really did it for us was our presentation. By the time they went, just 2 slides, the curator was already sold out. So I was already sold. So what he said was, bruh, are these things that these are the pieces I want to explain? I'm like, nah, this is just the cover page and the introduction. Like we've not got it to like this is it. I'm sold, blah blah blah. And like the following day so it was a Sunday morning, we had a meeting with Bolani Peters, which was just so blown with the pieces, right? And that really happened for us because we knew the kind of venue that we wanted and the kind of people that we wanted for the event. So we had already outdone, or we had done extra, right? So I try my best to when I'm being strategic with things that I'm doing, I try to focus on excellence, right? And I try to take my time to just see how best can we do this stuff. So that even when the things that you are thinking are not working the way you want them to work out, like there can be another chance or another opportunity that will just come from you just because of the quality of what that you put out. So that's like that's really good.
Yes, I think that's really interesting because it's like one thing that Tim was saying is like one thing I've learned is it's like dreaming. Like if the first benefit of dreaming is that you'll be able to recognize opportunities when it comes. Think about the time you say you want to buy a car and you mentally have the picture of the car you want to buy. That's when everyone on the bus is driving that car. It's not because the car has not been there for a long time.
Yes.
But because your mind is not able to capture that you can own this car. And so you're able to recognize it and say, oh, that's this car. I've seen this car everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So what happens is that your attention is now drawn towards that thing. You're beginning to see opportunities. And which is what happened when they were explaining that he wanted to do an exhibition. And automatically, like even if you think about it for 3 years. So for example, I've in my head one of my goals for this year is to have a Power of the Dreams conference, whereby we bring people together and have like plenary sessions and different outputs. No clue how it's going to happen, zero idea. But mentally, like my friend had a show last 2 weekends ago, and I saw this space sheets. I'm like, okay, this space can work. Wrote it down. I don't have a clue what's going to happen in that space. I don't have an idea, but as I'm saying things, I'm picking it up to say, oh, this can happen like this can happen like this can happen like this. And maybe it's in 1 month that all of these things will not come together. But the idea is that you are gathering information for that dream and you're using it to come to life. What I wanted to also ask, because a lot of people don't talk about this a lot. Because every time people talk about their grass to grace story or the story of when they actually come into the limelight, it feels like a 2-month story. It feels like a story that just happened yesterday. But there's a place of, I wouldn't call it being in the dark, there's a place of defining what you want to stand for. And people might call it being in the dark, but the way you are not known. And I love this space a lot because it helps you build character. It helps you know exactly who you want to be. That you were saying the same thing exactly, that he knows that anytime people see his work, he wants his work to be recognized for something excellent. And I have that same thing. Like, I'm not going to come to AfricaNXT and be late. It's like, I'm not going to come here and not prepare what I'm going to say. It might not be that people will come from session, but I know that I have a standard. Because what happens is that at the moment that people now begin to recognize your work, you don't have to do double work. You don't have to now begin to increase your effort, because before people saw you, you're working like an animal. You have been putting down the work. So I wanted to just ask you, starting from BG, like, how can, like, a lot of people ignore this defining period of their careers or their whatever it is that it is they're about to. whereby they are forming an identity for their dreams, so that when people see me, I know that I have an idea of what I want them to see, whether with my work, whether with my my speech, or whatever I find myself. I have an idea of what I want you to see. Short story: I met someone that's been in this space for years, and I was having a conversation with him. I used him as a life coach for 3 months, just to help me figure out finances and stuff. And the guy went to my Instagram page and my website, and the guy was like, "Even me that have been in this game for more than you, I cannot do the level of work you put out." But like, this guy is speaking to millions. He's getting paid almost 21 million naira every time he comes on the stage to pray.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for pro bono. But the idea is that I know that by the time I get to that stage,
Yeah.
I have done a level of work that is sustainable. But a lot of people don't get it.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, why are you doing extra? How do people navigate that period whereby you are trying to define who you are, what you want to stand for, so that it matches completely with your dream?
Thank you. So for me, I say this to people a lot, and it has even done to like a advance. I've always wanted to stand out. I did not know where I would be standing out in. Maybe it would be in design. I mean, like, design always been all my life. Or maybe it would be in art. Maybe it would be in fashion photography, or even film. But like, I just knew that like by the time I get that spotlight, people know that, hey, this guy deserves this stuff. So I came to Lagos to build that. Like, I mean, many of my friends that travel, it's just like maybe school, masters, stuff like that. But for me, all of us travel out one day, but I want to build that page that will get out there and people want to be part of what he's doing, right? I don't want to get there and still start running around. Do you understand? So I started with just learning how to pitch ideas. So like I worked in like 4 different agencies, and throughout my period of being employed, it's always been, if you go for this thing, I mean, like, I could easily just push back or pull back, and I didn't want to go for those things, but I needed that experience of coming into a room and pitching something to me, and yes, amazing. So that was my defining moment. So I needed to be able to pitch ideas to people, to be able to sell your ideas, to be able to think big, to be able to look at people and say, I did this stuff. And do you understand? Like, yeah, I do this. I love that moment. So people just see the story like, ah. So the research that I do, the study that I go for, the classes that I attend, it's always just been, how do I do something that wows me, right? Or how do I stand out? So from art to design to photography, like, if you check my bio on my Instagram right now, you see creating global relevant fashion photographs, one project at a time. Like, it will be a big thing for a fashion photographer in Lagos to stay, but it just means like there will be a day, there will be a time that they would say, okay, yeah, this guy is doing this thing for a long time. So he's globally known now, right? So that defining moment for me was a process of just learning to be that person that I would love people to see, and I would love people to want to partner with, and that person that I would love to put the extra mile to do projects or to do things that are amazing. And like, I mean, it's still a client process for me right now.
Yeah, it's
I mean, like, I'm not where I want to be yet.
Almost road to blow.
Road to blow. Road to blow. But I mean, like, it's like just the way you mentioned, that's shaped my character. Like, I know how to talk to people. I know how to be in people's spaces and not say so to say, right? Yeah. So that's it for me.
Listening to Deji talk, to be honest, I mean, as Nifemi said before, all three of us worked in the same agency. Deji used to shoot every weekend.
Yes.
Every weekend.
Friday.
I'd look at him and say, how the hell are you doing this with a 9 to 5? Like, how are you shooting every weekend? So because I shoot food, maybe food is more complex. I don't know, but they used to shoot every weekend. But I think one of the other things to note in that period is to be strategic with relationships.
Yeah.
So I think I was talking to someone yesterday, telling them I have 2 panels today, back to back. And they said, why don't they invite me to these things? And I laughed because someone else now said, but are you putting in the work behind the scenes to know? You know what I mean? So relationships are just as important as your dreams, as your work that you're putting in that period. A lot of the gigs that I've gotten are from relationships.
Yep.
People that maybe I went to school with, or if I met them at an event, I get in touch with them. And to be honest, it doesn't have to be daily keeping in touch. It's LinkedIn message every now and again, happy birthday, giving people compliments, every now and again. Those things help you, push you to where you need to be. In that period of building, I think one of the most important things is to build relationships. And building the right relationships as well. My mom always says network up, down, and to the side. A lot of people focus on networking up only, and the problem is what you don't realize is the people you look down on can also help you.
Yeah.
So if you think about the most important people in Nigeria, let me say, their executive assistants are the biggest people you actually need to meet, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to book the meetings for you. They'll tell you whether or not. And I mean, I know that people sometimes even pay crazy money to those assistants just so that they can see the person in charge. So you have to be very strategic with who you're talking to in that period. So.
And that's very it's very interesting, because if there's one thing I've learned in talking about this and kind of having to talk to people about it, is it's something I've coined, like knowing the seasons of your dreams.
Yeah.
And I found out about this when I joined, like I said, we used to work together. I found out about this when I joined our former company. And so when I joined, people were like, I took it almost like, I was earning, I think about 80% pay cuts to join. And when I entered, I knew that the season of the dream life I want to build, I need this place. So I wasn't entering with the lens of, oh yeah, we're going to build a career, we're going to make money. I didn't know what it was, to be honest, at the time, but I knew that it was different from I want to build a career, I want to make money. I knew it was different from that entirely. So it was as I started meeting people, I knew that, oh, I'm here for the relationship. Like that's the season of my dream now, is to build relationships in this place. And so I was very intentional about it. And for me, like learning that lesson has also helped me to know that, like last year was my season to make money. I knew it, like this is I was charging but this year, like I know that, oh, it's past.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm not going to make money, but I know that I'm not focused on that. I want to now build on top of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people mix these seasons up, whereby you go into a place and you're like, it's not working for me, I'm not paying me this one. I'm not saying don't aim for the best pay, but I'm just saying understanding the season of your dream is as important as the dream itself, because it's probably not going to come to fruition all at once.
Yes.
You are going to go through phases and you will be frustrated because you are attaching the wrong reward towards the actions you're making. So, and that's the situation, like, I'm not making enough money. But what if that season is not for you to make enough money? So you are frustrated in doing the work because the reward you have attached to it is not supposed to be the right reward. And so I wanted us to touch on that, like very little. On how have you, we've all, like, I know you guys to a certain extent, and I know that we've all gone past several seasons in our life of, because time, like Atim was coming to the office just like 2 to 3 times in a week, and on Wednesday she's going to the restaurant to go and cook, and Friday she's doing it again, and juggling all of these things. On Friday morning, both of us at our client office, speaking to the client about the brand, coming back Friday afternoon, we are doing activation, and Saturday she's in the kitchen again at the restaurant cooking. But and now you are doing it full time, and no one knows what will happen in the future.
Yeah.
So, how have you been able to identify those seasons? Because people will look at it like, to be honest, the money you're making from cooking was more than what you're making at the office. It's not a, I'm not trying to, but like, but a lot of people look at it and are like, why are you doing this? So my question to ask you is, what in that season did you recognize was important for you to be able to take all of this at the same time and build what you're building?
So I'll give one particular example. Back to this cook running up and down to cook during work when I was working. So at the time when I was doing my first restaurant consultation project, which was the House Lagos in BI, I don't know that the house has paid or even paid close to what I actually deserved to be paid on that project, but I did everything. Oh God, we settled, we ran, we went to market, we did everything. But what I recognized is the people that I was building with.
Yeah.
They were very intentional about the brand that they wanted to build. And so for me, I thought to myself, if I situate myself with these people in this time, and we build this thing and it's successful, this story will tell for everybody else, and then I can charge what I want to charge. So understanding that season was for building for that. So I was a bit more patient with a lot of things. I threw myself into the research, into the process, into like some days. I mean, I'm a consultant. At the end of the day, I shouldn't be cooking. But there's some days that 100 people will walk in and the kitchen can't handle it. But guess what? You throw yourself in, you do it. Because I wanted that brand to succeed. Now, when I'm talking to people, they even say, oh yeah, the one that did the House Lagos. And that's now a conversation point. So because they've seen the success of that, it makes it easier in conversation to negotiate with the next season. Now the seasons will make it money. So it makes it easier for me to negotiate for that season. Because now people have done the work of background building. So yeah, that's what it is.
So then I want to ask a different question. Because like in 2019, we went, I can't remember the exhibition we went for, Emmanuel Elike's exhibition. We went for Emmanuel Elike's exhibition. And we just tapped each other. We said this in Yoruba that, yeah, if you do this thing, if you do this thing, like I feel do our move. And we're just ideating. We can use our office there. We use the white glass. We print on the white glass. We're just ideating. But you need it to last. You need it to last. What was right about last year that made you know that it was time for you to do that?
Okay. Yeah, that's the right question actually. So for me, I think that the way I would define the seasons is there's a season to be a steward, and there's a season that can actually be good. So being a steward means that you have to give out favors and you have to collaborate a lot. So favors in the sense that I am a photographer, right? And I'm just coming up. And people are coming your way and are saying that they love to book you for peanuts. So at that point in time, you need to build your profile. So if you keep turning down jobs, that means that it's really looking empty. So you have to give out favors at that point in time. So that's different. That's the financial part of it. The other part is the type of videos that you love to shoot. I mean, I don't mind shooting with Wabona, for instance, right? But I'm starting photography in 2018. I can't get Bonabo in 2018, right? So I'll probably start shooting my friends, my colleagues, my mom, my dad, right? At that point in time, until probably when I have built my profile to an extent before someone can say, Brother is doing a concept. I will go shoot Brother's concept without Brother knowing that I am shooting his concept. Until maybe one point in time, there is a brand that wants to sign Brother and they say, I know you guy that can do photography. And then you can now shoot Brother at that point in time. So I think that's how that stuff played out for me. When I started photography, I remember very well that the first job I did was for a friend that owns a fashion brand. So we went in, rented studio, rented equipment, got camera, got this, got that. Like I didn't know what to do, but we had to do it, right? And I remember very well that we did that shoot on the Saturday, went back to the office on Monday. I was so excited. I was just talking to my colleagues. Then my boss that time had been gisting my colleagues about the shoot that I had that weekend, the weekend before. And he told me that, I'm planning to do something. And I was like, that's how I got my first ever. And he paid me, then he got me like 3 clients after that time. And like it was just a conversation of, can you do this, can you not do that, how much is this, I don't have this money, let me just give you this. And from there he just started preaching my gospel to his friends, and I got the other jobs from him. So at that point in time I could easily say, this is my rate card, right? A session is this, an hour is that, and probably I might have not done that job. Do you understand? So I think that there should be a season that you define yourself as a steward.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad in it, right? Our president today used to be steward, right? Obama at one point in time used to go to Mandela's place to just learn stuff, right? So it is that season that is going to shape you into what the kind of leader that you want to be, or the kind of person that you want to be. I mean, like right now, portfolio is like growing. Do you understand? It has grown to an extent that you can now send 4 or 5 pages of rate cards to people. Right? And just because they've seen the stuff that you can do, or the stuff that you have done, they pay you for your services.
Exactly.
Or they pay you whatever you ask, right? And after that season of you realizing that you are now a leader in that space, there's also a way that you can collaborate with other leaders so that you can keep growing, right? So I mean, like when Atu was saying that she's an executive for right? So she might as well just the normal mentality of Nigerians, like I want to do my own stuff, nobody's going to hire me, right? Do you understand? But I mean, right now, these people are going to Ghana now. It's very possible she's going to be the one married to that stage too. So and it's always like that, and I just keep going. So for me, there's nothing wrong with being a steward at some point in time, so that just you learn it, you experience it, and it's just experiences that will come together as well.
I think that, like, for me, like, I think the problem with stewardship is that a lot of time we define it well. Stewardship is managing what you have in front of you. Like, we confuse stewardship to serving. Like, you see there with the slave. No, stewardship is actually how are you using what you currently have in front of you. And so, if your gift, if your dream is important, that there are times where you have to steward it. I want to be, for example, I know I want to get into ministry at some point in my career. Throughout last week, I was at a conference, carrying bag, doing everything. It's not because there's no ointment on my head. It's just because I know that it's time to steward the calling. I'm not ready to be on a stage, but this is the time to steward the calling. And when the time comes to lead, like, I would have learned a lot from stewarding. And so, a lot of people convince it that, you don't always, who I know me, like, you can't find me anywhere, firstly. I'm awful. Like, you don't always have to be a face, you don't always have to be popular. There's a place of saying, I want to learn, I want to manage this gift that I have, I want to manage this dream that I have to the point whereby it can now lead me into where I am now, the one pushing the dream. And it's okay, it's really great, because what I've learned in the last few years of just, my dream is not even half of where I want to be. Like, mentally, my ideal, one thing I try to do to myself every year is I write what's the eldest and the ideal version of myself. The ideal version of myself is to come up to speak somewhere like this, get paid like $2 or $3 million on there, please. Call the general, Alpha, let's go to this point and sit just. That's the ideal version of myself. It will happen. Truthfully, it will happen. But now I know that, like, I'm not there yet. So what I'm doing is building myself to be there. Building myself to be there. And when it happens, people will see it and say, who is this guy? Where did he come from? But you that you know that you have managed that gift, you have stewarded it to a point whereby people can see it. You don't be like that. Now you've seen me, if you know my story. Just to wrap up now, I wanted to ask you guys to give like any last words before I bring this to a close.
Okay, so I think, like I said before, in dreaming, just be realistic, or not realistic, be strategic. So do the research to know what is possible, and add tip. Tip is your hope and your dream. Network with the right people. I think that I can't even stress that enough. Just network with the right people. And then also just even do more. It's not just to meet one person and then say hello and that's it. Just be very intentional to be memorable to those people. Those people are going to speak for you. I got a gig recently for Relay Arts Gallery this week, and it's for somebody that I think I booked for her in 2018. And I've stayed in touch. Maybe when she was off of Instagram, I said, hey, I hope you're okay, I haven't seen you. But the gig she recommended me for was last week. You know what I mean? The last time I saw her was, last time I did work with her was 2018. So just be very intentional about how you stay in touch with your network. And that's that.
So I think that dreams make you a difficult person to buy. So you know what you want. And it is always very difficult for someone to just hand anything to you. Because I mean, like, you have your own dreams, right? So I would say that I strongly advise, or I strongly urge people to try their best to own their own dreams. I want the black car. Right?
Doesn't have to make sense to anybody.
Do you understand? I mean, like, you might not get black car like almost immediately, right? You might still have to drive a couple of red cars, but like, you know that you want the black car. So at that point in time, when you can afford that black car, nobody will say, oh, we don't have the black, or she just take the red, because you know that that's what you want, right? And just having dreams make you very intentional with the people that you network with, or the people that are in your circle, or the things that you do, the projects that you do, how you do the projects. Because I mean, you want to shoot Harrison, right? Definitely you cannot be a strong concept photographer because you know that the kind of photo you want to do has to go to Buhari, right? So you just having that dream, or those dreams will just make you know the path that you want to follow. So I strongly just think that people should always own their dreams, to just pursue their dreams no matter how difficult it seems. But I just go after it. That would be it for me today.
Like, I think for me, like, I love the owning your dream part, man. Like, it's key, like, very, very important. Like, it doesn't make sense to anyone. Like, it doesn't. Trust me, I have stupid dreams. My parents are done. They're tired. But the sweet thing about those things is that last year, for example, I got my mom something from my stupid dreams. And she was like, my mom is Yoruba, particular. This thing is coming to life. And she was excited. Now, this year we're all planning. I told her the stupid dream. I like, go ahead. It would happen. But imagine I began to succumb. But I see your point. Maybe a black shoe is not really great. Then we go for pink and white. And when I'm like, no, people will understand after you succeed. And there's also the place of balancing that, kind of realizing that this is my own last statement, that baby steps are still steps. A lot of time, someone wants to jump from year to year. You can do it, but the possibility that you will die. And you break your leg, which will make you a lot slower. But if you take it one step at a time, baby steps, for me, it's key to understand that, or understanding that it's the combination of your baby steps that now become a giant leap. So understanding that whilst you own your dream, there's a balance of saying, I'm going to buy a black car like Daisy said, but today I'm going to drive this other type of car because I can't afford to take all the money in my account to go and buy a black car now. But after doing it for like 3 years, the black car will show up, and I'm like, that's me.
Okay.
So I think for me, it's just, man, dreams are important. Trust me. I say it into every passion in my heart. I am a product of my dreams. I literally have spoken to places I'm like, me. From where? I spoke somewhere last year, February, on the global stage. They couldn't even pronounce my name well. But like, it's because I had a dream of what I want to be. And I know that's just the beginning of it for me. And like, you guys on this part, and everyone here as well. So, it might not seem like what it is today, but please, 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 don't stop dreaming. Like, have a constant habit to say, what can my life look like? It doesn't have to be like the reality that you see to people. What am I expecting? What can my life look like? And you kind of realize that you'll be a lot more motivated to wake up the next day and say, I want to do this. And we drove 2 hours to get here. It pays me a lot. Because that traffic was useless. But we both had a picture of what today would look like. Mentally, like, maybe not the venue particularly, but saying this thing and playing it in my head over and over again. So the stress of coming here, I woke up early, took out the clothes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go and talk. And that's what dream does. It makes you so excited to do the stupid things and live life a lot more better. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Ate. Thank you, Deji. And thank you guys. Such a fantastic session. Thank you so much.